Hello, everybody. It is Modern Medusa. Welcome to show. Oh, I am here with the infamous Mad Cat. I'm kidding. Oh, how are you doing?
Mad Cat, smash feminism! Ah! I have not done that in such a long time.
Yeah, we should start roasting some more feminists soon.
I am doing wonderful. How are you doing?
I'm doing better now. I had a bit of a stressful day because my damn sewing machine went and pooped out on me, but it's working again now, so that's good.
You do realize that by having a sewing machine, you support the patriarchy, right?
Yes. I make aprons and, sandwich lunch boxes, Oh. One true Lord Emperor says, "It's me, Matt G. How you doing?"
Hello, Matt G.
And Brad Young, how you doing? Hello, gorgeous. Hello, Deuce. That's great.
Well, I guess I'm gorgeous. I'll take it. And no, there's not a problem with your camera. This is a small cigar. I mean, I do got some larger cigars when my campaign succeeds, but, it's a small cigar for getting my campaign up.
Are you sure that's not a weed? At first, I'm gonna be like, "That's a gag cigar." Sorry, what'd you say?
Well, see, the theory is that for guys who like smoke cigarettes and cigars, it's like they really just want to suck penis. So I'm like, I want a short black penis if I'm going to be forced to suck penis.
Yeah, a stubby one. That's good. That's a good goal. I like that. Oh, yeah, I like cigars from time to time, but after a while they make me a little nauseous. I think it's not anything in particular, but like I usually like to smoke when I drink, and I'm drinking, so. Hello, Mr. Consumer. Maggie said he has the largest cigars, winky face.
If you know what I mean.
He wants that Tootsie Roll.
Tootsie Roll.
I got me some white girl juice. This is literally, okay, I was given this. I would not drink this by myself. I would not buy this. Especially grapefruit flavor. Ew. But I'm gonna drink it because it has alcohol in it. And today is a day tonight is a night for celebration. Not the rest of the day. Fuck the day. But tonight is gonna be great. Oh, so tell us why we're all here.
Well, today's a celebration because for the last year I've been planning for this day. I am working on another book series. I'm working on a book series, but this is a follow-up to my other book, How to Destroy a Woman Now. And that proved to be a lot more successful than I thought it would. And I'm like, maybe that's my problem. I should start writing political books rather than fiction. So yeah. I decided to, because I actually came up with this idea for Boys and Men issues handbook like back in 2013, but I was like, who the fuck am I shouldn't write this. It should be Paul Elam or Warren Farrell or Karen Strawn. Y'all know who those people are. I'm a nobody. So for the longest time I just didn't want to write this, and then it was like, well, people really seem to buy that book, maybe I should do this book. So I've been preparing for it, and I'm about ready to get started, but, I do need to raise some money first because, well, I can't work and I'm dirt poor, to try to get an editor of some sort, even if I have to do that myself, but I'm hoping I can hire a professional. And I'm pretty decent when it comes to grammar. And also get a cover artist. So that's what I'm raising the money for, is to try to get those things. But, if I end up doing really well with this, I'd like to maybe do a book signing in
That'd be
Virginia
awesome.
maybe this fall, which if we could do it for International Men's Day, that'd be even better. But that's my basic goals, and I'm hoping this book series can also allow me to kind of have a life, be able to make some money so I can take care of myself.
Yeah.
Just reading the comments right now.
I'm sharing this stream. Give it a like if you like.
La Morte. I like that name. It stands
I love
for
you, Medusa.
death. I hope you're a girl because that's how I'm reading that. And if you're actually a guy, I apologize for insulting you.
I think it might be a dude, but that's okay. Stone Mexican guy says, I love you. I love you too. Oh, he's been following all the drama on Twitter. Oh, that you don't know about. I'll have to tell you about it sometime. I too am writing a book. I would love to write a book about my opinions, but yeah, the fantasy thing is definitely more along like it's just more difficult to flush things out when you are creating a world versus talking about the world you already live in, I guess.
With Twitter, not drama.
Yeah. No. Well, see, dude, that would actually make a pretty good book. Twitter drama. Keemstar versus H3H3. The saga. Oh, Twitter drama is very rainbow. Oh, yes, absolutely. Oh my gosh.
Well, I actually started off as a fiction writer. I have 5 books out doing fiction. Okay, it's my first love. I'd rather be doing that, but all the books out that I have doesn't make any money. But my book, How to Destroy a Woman Now, has made far more money than anything else. Woohoo! I got a contribution.
Yay! Thank you. Oh no, he left. Got so excited that he left. Oh, that's okay. Oh man, you got so excited.
I hit refresh on the wrong thing.
Oh, that's funny.
That again. $40. Woo!
Thank you so much, guys.
And this is nice because right here where it says highlights for my projects, it has 4,986. So with that $40, all of my projects, which were the lovely lady calendars, I've now made $5,000 total.
Wow, that's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. I think
make money. Bye.
Well, I'm thinking, if you continue doing pieces like this and gaining popularity in the men's movement, then you could take time after that. Once you feel comfortable or whatever, or even if you just have like a little bit of money on the side or something, you could be like, well, now I'll focus on fiction, and then or go back and forth, like whatever you what inspires you, really.
Well, no, I definitely want to do that, but I do feel like I have a good presence in the men's movement. I'm not a superstar, and that's okay, but it's like I got Paul Elam doing the foreword to my book.
Yeah.
I've gotten the opportunity to befriend Paul. He knows who I am, Mm-hmm. I got Elizabeth Hobson doing the second book, and people are starting to know who I am, and that's so wonderful. And so many people have been supporting this book. So it's been a great ride. And I'm glad that I'm doing this book now versus back then, because I feel like we're starting to see the beginning of things getting better for men. Now, we're probably still like 50 years away from reaching an egalitarian society, or maybe 100 years, but I feel like now is when it's starting to go into that direction.
Yeah. I've seen like good things and bad things. There's always going to be like those, like there's always going to be pushback, but I feel like more people are realizing, like, in general, like the shit that men deal with and gets swept under the rug.
Well, there's also a little bit of pushback within the movement. Lately, I've been seeing Facebook posts on private groups saying, "Oh, we shouldn't have gay men in here because they have their own thing," or we shouldn't have women
Really?
in here. And it's like, they're men. I don't care if it's a black man. I don't care if it's a gay man. They need to be a part of our movement because they're men. And yeah, we also need women in here. We need everyone to realize that men need help. And that's my goal with this book, to increase the level of empathy for all men.
Yeah. I mean, being like exclusionary like that is really, it doesn't, like, it's the same thing when feminists are like, oh, white men can't be a part of our cause, but you should still support us. It's like, it doesn't
They do
really
that.
make a whole lot of sense.
Oh, well, your feminism only catered to white women, so you're just as misogynistic as men.
Right. Yeah, and then there's like people that are like, if you're not, or if you're like for circumcision, then you're the worst person ever. And like, while I'm against circumcision, I'm not gonna be angry at a guy who supports men's rights and, you know, it has a different opinion, like, I'm also not gonna get mad at someone who's like religious, or something like that. It's just little, like, it's like the intersectional feminism shit where they get like so picky and like nitty gritty. It's like, oh, even like within the LGBT community, they are like, oh, you're not gay enough. You're not. You're too gay. Like, there's so many like weird parallels that people go off of, but in the end, like, as long as you're like for the same cause, it's like, I protested with like anti-circumcision people who were liberal and against vaccinations, and while I don't agree with that, that doesn't mean I'm not gonna protest with them.
Well, La Morte says that I'd love to see a piece of literature that talks honestly about the commodification of male sexuality. And that is something I do hope to do with this book series. Now, I believe talking about male sexuality will be in book 4, but it'll be kind of interwoven throughout the whole thing, because in book 1, I do talk about dating, I do talk about marriage, so that kind of includes sexuality to a degree. But I do definitely want to mention about how much under the microscope male sexuality is, and how we're demonized for it. That, it's like the whole prostitution issue. Well, we don't want to charge women for being prostitutes, so we'll charge men for hiring prostitutes. Oh, and porn, feminists support porn until a man enjoys it, and then it's oppressing women. So, yeah, I'm very aware of those issues, and I do want to put that into this book series.
Yeah. So for this first,
circumcision will be in the first book.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna ask like what in general will be outlined in the first book.
Well, that's actually listed in the Indiegogo campaign. If you scroll down a bit, and of course none of you can see this, but it discusses what generally will be in the first 4 books. But what I'm going to include will be a lot more than that. But like for the first book, so I'll start off with like the myths of I can't speak. The myths of men's rights. Like, there's so many myths out there about what the men's movement actually is. So I want to start off with that. And then I'll be talking things about child abuse, circumcision, education, the grading bias, how female teachers are more likely to give male students lower grades for the same work. Dating, marriage, divorce, custody, and reproductive rights.
Okay. That's okay, so it kind of revolves a little bit around children, kind of. The first.
Yeah, I call it. The first book will be called Culture, but it's kind of like starting with being a child, then growing up and going to school, and then college, and then marriage, and then divorce. So it's kind of like taking you through a path.
I see. And what so do you have ideas already for what the other 3 books are going to be about in general?
Oh, yeah. Would you like me to read them off?
Yeah, go ahead. Might as well.
Well, this originally started off as an idea for one book, but then when I started looking up resources to put into this book, which I have like over 4,000 files saved on my computer, and I don't even think I'm half done yet with my research. Then I decided, well, this will be way too big. I need to divide this up. So book 2 will focus on the legal system more. So it'll deal with crime statistics, due process, the sentencing gap, rape, statutory rape, Title IX, consent, false rape accusations, victim blaming, and intimate partner violence.
Okay. Intense, bro. I just I've been listening to a lot of true crime stories about how women who have killed their children, their families, their husbands. Oh my god, this woman had 2 of her lovers secretly staying in her husband's house and would call him crazy whenever he thought he heard or saw something.
What?
Yeah. And then one night, one of the guys hears her like grunt or fall or something, and so he thinks that the husband is hurting her, and he comes out and shoots the husband. He's like, I knew it! He was the one that was stealing the bread! Dude, women are crazy. I cannot even imagine like the balls that it would take. Oh.
As far as you, Roger Wilco, look, we're here to have fun as well. I mean, we're discussing my big project, which is a very serious subject matter, but come on. Have you seen any of our shows together? We don't take anything seriously. So have at it. Have fun.
Oh, yeah.
And another person called me gorgeous, Miss Anne. So thank you. I am gorgeous. Thank you.
Yeah. Missy's really nice.
Oh, Missy. It's like really tiny on the screen that I'm looking at. All right. So going to book number 3, this focuses more on male disposability. So that will cover video games, positive discrimination. And what I mean by that is discrimination that favors women. Let's see. Workplace death, wage gap, unemployment, the media, advertisements, and by media I mean like the news, TV shows, movies, advertisements, movies, military, selective service, and homelessness. Basically, anytime a male is basically sacrificed to try to help women or try to put women on a higher pedestal than men.
Yeah.
And then last is number 4, biology. So we'll be discussing body image issues, eating disorders, cancer, death, medication, mental health, suicide, and sex. And I want to touch on body image issues and eating disorders. That might sound strange to some people. It's like, well, that's something that girls have to deal with. No, actually, men deal with this shit too. And that's part of the problem, that everyone assumes that this is just a woman's issue. So when men have these problems, they're not immediately recognized. And some even die before anyone's like, oh, he had image. He was anorexic. So I think that's a very important thing to discuss.
Yeah. All of these issues are very important to discuss. I mean, I'm glad that, someone like you is actually taking the time to like archive all of this and organize it in a way that highlights how disproportionate things are for men sometimes, because like it just makes me so sad when I see women acting like men are so disposable and trash. And God, if you don't know who this one woman is named Shaolin something, Shaolin Lester the Molester, I don't remember. But her first name is Shaolin, and you'll find her on YouTube. She is a diagnosed narcissist, and she goes online on YouTube giving girls advice on how to cheat, how to manipulate your relationships, and how to emotionally control people and get what you want. And there are thousands of women supporting her, taking advice from her, agreeing with her, and being like, oh, I do that shit all the time. And like, I watched this one guy's video about it, and he was like, this just really fucking shows like what we are as a society right now. Like, women can say anything. Oh my God, she goes out of her way to talk about how she loves dating younger men, which is fine, except the fact that there's like video evidence, like a video of her telling an 18-year-old boy that he's actually older than most of the boys that she dates. And it's just really disgusting. Like, she talked about having sex dreams about Justin Bieber when she was younger. And he was like underage. Riley Reid very openly said that she raped a boy to lose her virginity, and nobody cares about that shit.
Well,
I mean, I feel
her face, that fat comedian, I forget her name, but she talked about how, yeah, Amy Schumer. She talked on stage about how she invited a man over. They got drunk, or maybe he was already drunk. He passed out, and she decided to have sex with him. But Tosh.0, he can get on the stage and make rape jokes like, I'm offended.
Yeah.
Although I do love his joke where he decided to replace his sister's pepper spray with silly string.
Yeah, no, that's just hilarious.
And then she like calls up, is like, I got raped, so ha.
Oh, you know what? The other day Andrew came up with something. He said, hey, I didn't rape that girl. It was a heart attack. Hey, but oh. Yeah, and people even are saying in the chat that like tons of men have had women force themselves on them, even if it's not penetration. I've had dudes come up to me and be like, a chick literally grabbed my dick and I didn't even know who she was. And they don't care. Like, a butt grab is one thing, you know, like, or like a shoulder touch, like, or even like if they fucking grab your tit, at least it's not literally grabbing you by the pussy. Like, I've never heard of someone actually doing that to a stranger who was a woman, but I have definitely heard about chicks going up and grabbing dudes' dicks.
And it's socially acceptable because
Yeah.
there's this idea that, oh, well, men want it. I mean, every time we hear, and I found so many of these cases of teachers molesting male students, it's assumed he wanted it. And maybe at the time he did, but if a 13-year-old girl who's supposedly more mature than a 13-year-old boy, and that is true actually, but if she's more mature and she's a victim at that age, then boys are. Even if he agreed to it, it can do devastating damage to him down the line. But no, it's assumed he wanted it, so it's not that bad.
I mean, that could excuse my high school PE teacher. I mean, I've told you about this before, but my high school PE teacher, who was a female, she started dating a girl who was 18. So of course it was legal, but you're not supposed to do that when you're a teacher. You're not supposed to date your high school students. They
Actually,
ended up
in many places in the United States, that's actually illegal, even if they're of age, because it's considered an abuse of power. So
yes.
Teachers are not supposed to date their students, even if their student is of legal age.
Yeah, and I think that she actually left working for a while, but then she came back. And then they were living together. They literally, like, after she graduated, they moved in together, and she was still a PE teacher. And then the guy, or there was a man who was, the boys' PE teacher, who basically got caught with the same thing, except he was actually fired and was only allowed to return as a, what's it called, substitute.
Mm.
So she got away while still dating the girl that she was with. She can do whatever. She can still be a teacher, but the guy, because he hooked up with a high school girl, he can't fucking be a regular teacher anymore. Oh, it's so, the double standards are so maddening. You just have to, like, turn your brain off sometimes and not even fucking think about it. Hi, Disabled Gamer.
Now, one thing that I am actually planning other books to write after these 4 books are done. Like, I want to write one on the empathy gap, which I have so much for that. So, like you just mentioned there, would kind of add to the empathy gap. And another thing I want to write is like a male's guide to feminism. Like, I have so much stuff about the craziness of feminism. So I'm already planning to do other books in this beyond these 4.
That's good.
But I want
like to collab on one.
What's up?
I was just saying I'd like to collab on a book one day.
Okay. Well, I'm a good writer, or at least I think so.
Yeah.
But I want to explain a little bit of what my goal for these books are. And it's kind of twofold. One, anyone who doesn't know what the men's movement is, what we are fighting for. And that kind of falls into 2 categories. One, feminists who think that we're just nothing but a hate movement. This is an opportunity to find out what it is that we actually are. But the second group of people are just kind of your average person that doesn't even know the men's movement exists. They don't know anything about this. I've talked to a lot of people, and certainly they know feminism exists, but it's like, there's a men's movement? I didn't know about that. I mean, me, myself, I didn't know one existed until like 2013. In 2012, I thought about starting my own movement after Anita Sarkeesian did her whole thing. And then I found out, wait, there's already a movement? It's just like a lot of people don't know that this is out there. So I'm hoping my book can give them an introduction to it. Or those who are starting out in the men's movement who want to find out more about it. But the second goal I have with this series is to be a reference guide. Because I'm sure anyone in the chat in Modern Medusa, you probably experience this. You talk to some feminists online and you tell them, oh, well, you know, boys and men are raped in nearly equal numbers. And then a feminist is like, that's not true. Show me your evidence for that. And most of the time, the things that we talk about we know to be true, we don't have it readily available to show.
Yeah.
So this book will be a reference book for all those people that know this stuff is out there and can pinpoint where it is. In fact, I'm releasing a book with the handbook called a fact book. And this will just have the facts. Like it'll say, you know, 40% of males will be sexually assaulted before they turn 18. So I'll have that fact and it'll tell you where you can find that fact. So it'll just be filled with nothing but those facts. So that way, you're ever in a discussion, you can quickly pull it up. Or you need to do research, this book will help you do that. So that is my goal, is introduction to those who have no clue what this is, and a reference for everyone else that needs to find this information fast.
Right.
Sorry, I could talk on forever, and I want to give you an opportunity to speak.
No, you're good. But yeah, I'm glad that you're starting this, because I know that you've wanted to, or yeah, it's been like a year since you've wanted to do it, and I think that it is a very worthy cause. You guys should totally share the thing in the description and donate if you can.
Well, I'll post the link again into the chat there.
Yeah, go ahead.
Another contribution. I'll check that out in a moment.
Yay!
igg.me/at/boys-men's-issues.
Excuse me. So, okay, so people are talking about a comic in the chat. I thought when someone said start with a comic, they meant like as in men's issues. I wanted to do political comics for a while, but like I said, it takes a long time. And I never know if like what I draw is actually going to be accepted or like popular or whatever, which isn't the goal, but it's like if I don't know that it'll incite some kind of like thought-provoking shit, I'm just like, well, what's the point? But I mean, I have a ton of comics personally already in my head that I want to make, but that's my own thing. Specifically for men's issues, I really want to make a shirt / just a little like logo thing that's set like with a baby, and it just has a little speech bubble that says "Don't touch my dick." Oh, so they like little stuff like that. But yeah. Hello, Mally is here. Hello, Cassie. Thank you for joining. I appreciate it. Why did you suggesting I read a comic opposed to a book? Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. I didn't realize that was directed towards someone else. No worries.
I would love to do a comic.
Yeah, no, comics are great.
No drawing ability, so I'd have to have someone else draw it. But I would love to write for it. You know.
Oh my god, why did my audio just die? I can barely hear you now. What ideas for
comic? I'm a consumer, and you know, I hope that if you haven't donated already, that you go ahead and donate, because I think this will be a very important book. You know, I like to tell myself this will be the most important book of the 21st century, and anyone who's a writer knows that you need to have a lot of ego to write a book. You have to have humility, but it's got to tell yourself this is going to be something everyone needs to read. So that's kind of like how I motivate myself. But I do think it's going to be a very important book.
Me too. I kind of have an idea for a cover. You just gotta let me know like the dimensions and such.
Yeah, I definitely will. but that'll have to come at a later time. But as you know, Medusa has certainly volunteered for it, and I want to make sure that I can pay her for it. I mean, I don't have to, but it's like, it's an important thing, and I want to support Modern Medusa like she wants to support me. So,
Yeah.
If it works out that Modern Medusa designs the cover, I want to pay her. I think that's the right thing to do.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. So what are some other things that you've done with the men's movement that you haven't mentioned on stream, since we haven't done one in a while?
Well, actually, I was thinking about that earlier, that it's like all the things that I have done has kind of led me to this point. Especially doing the lovely ladies calendars, because one of the big things that we want, well, one of the ideas I came forward with that, and then Medusa ended up loving it, was that we had to include facts. We had to put facts in there so people knew about it. Because, we could have easily just done pictures of women and that would have been enough. But it was like, let's throw in facts, and then we both came up with the idea of the quick reference guide, which is offered on this campaign. It's only like $6. It has a value of $10, so you get it at a discount, but you can get that again. But it's like, I did that. All the videos we did, I went back through every single video we did to try to pull out news articles that we talked about to try to include with this. But as far as what I've done recently for the movement, not really that much, because I've been just so focused on this. That's why I've been like MIA from doing videos, being on Twitter. I'm still on Facebook and I talk a lot there, but I'm not doing as much as I could because I've just been so focused on getting this book ready to go.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, American Phoenix. He said, he or she, but I have my copy of the calendar and it's totally worth the price. Not only beautiful women, but very informative.
Yeah. So this is kind of like that, but with less sexy women. More serious.
I did post a picture of Modern Medusa on the campaign, so just scroll down a little bit and you'll see her in her sexy bathing suit.
Yeah.
Exactly. I need to put the other freaking calendar behind me, but it's in a stack of books in this room somewhere. Like, okay, you don't even want to see the rest of my room. It's fucking horrible. No.
Well, I have my calendar hung up right now, but it's still on February. And that's because Elizabeth Hobson has been such an influence in all of this. Because she was the one to tell me to actually write the How to Destroy a Woman Now. And she didn't tell me directly to do it. She's like, you should write a book in protest of how to destroy a man now. And because of that success, it inspired me to write this. Like, it just felt so important to do it. So it's like, she's overlooking me right now, and I just like, in some way, I'm like, I want to live up to the belief that you had in me that I could do this. So,
yeah.
So the calendar is still on February.
That's okay.
If I don't explain that, then it sounds creepy.
No. But hey, wait, I'm June, right? Everybody, flip to your June on your calendar. Oh, see some delicious watermelon.
You will still get the quick reference guide, which I'm going to update it slightly because it looked fine on my computer, but then when I actually got it, I'm like, yeah, that didn't turn out the way I thought it would. So I'm going to tweak it a little bit to make it look nicer. But other than that, it's still pretty much the same book. So if you didn't get a chance to get it, this is your opportunity to get it. And I think it's worth it. But that's actually a precursor to all of this, because to the fact book, because it lists the facts and it has the source links of where you can find it. So
exactly. I think it's important, even for people to just look through, like they can, even if they don't end up, which I still think you should make an app. I think that would be very popular. But even if people just look through it, they'll remember the facts more. Excuse me. And they'll be able to bring up things that people might not know about. And I mean, I've been just giving like random facts to people that aren't even necessarily men's issues related. It's just like stuff that I've learned through like watching random YouTube videos, and I'm like, this is information that I want to share. So like the more you hear stuff, the more you want to spread it into normal conversation. I think that's important.
I do too. Well, American Phoenix, we both apparently share a birthday, or at least the same birth month. My birthday is June 14th. So if you want to give me a birthday present, support my Indiegogo.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, please share the Indiegogo even if you can't donate, because then someone else might be able to donate, and then we can reach the goal.
And don't be afraid to give $1. I mean, I know a lot of people kind of have this, if I can't give a lot of money, then I can't give anything. If like 2,000 people gave $1, I'd reach my goal. So now, it's something else I want to mention. I'm actually an editor for wiki4men.com. And all of the facts that I put into this book, I'm also going to be putting into that website. So even if you don't get the book, which I hope you do, because it's nice to have a physical book or an ebook, but even if you don't have that, you can still go to wiki4men.com and get the same information. I just got to upload it there. But it actually has quite a bit of stuff already.
Yeah.
So this is my dream come true, because like I said, I've been waiting. I started this in 2013, and I actually made like a 300-page document based on information I got off Tumblr about men's issues. And then I just now opened it back up like a few weeks ago and started looking through there, and there was like so much great stuff there. And another thing is I was afraid, because I wanted to make it as a writer, as an author. I mean, yeah, I've published books, but I haven't really broke out as an author. But the problem is that the writing world, especially the indie writing world, is very, very feminist. So it's like, if I publish this book, and I am putting my name on it, it'll say Chris Voti on the cover, but I put that out there, I could be technically blackballed from the writing world, because now I've published something like this. And I mean, it doesn't sound that serious, but when it's your dream to be known for fiction writing, it makes it a little bit harder when you go against the grain. And that's one thing that's always held me back, was I want to be a great writer. I want people to get me and see me as a great writer. And I may not get that opportunity, but the way I see it, this book needs to be done now. And I'm the one who's going to do it. And then I can worry about whatever fallout there is after the fact.
Yeah, I don't think that I think it'll be successful in a good way.
I think so too. And I can still write and I can still publish, and who knows, maybe the men's movement will support my writing as a fiction author. I mean, my book, Dagar Legacy, which you can find on Amazon, I'm proud of it that it has 5 main male characters There is no primary female character or even a secondary female character. But just for fun, I was able to make it past the Bechdel test.
Wait, what is that?
The Bechdel test, it started off as kind of a joke, but then feminists made it a thing, where in order to pass, you have to have two female characters talking to each other for at least a minute and cannot mention any males at all. And if you can have this, then you pass the Bechdel test, which most movies fail at. And in my book that doesn't have any main female characters, I demonstrated to pass.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. I like that. Yeah, you should buy all of his books. Also, it's American Phoenix's birthday, so happy birthday to him. He's very sweet. He watches all my streams.
Well, happy birthday. How old are you? I'm going to be 40 this year.
I think he's 28. Let's see. My mom's birthday is the day after. Wait, no, not the day after yours. A week before yours, excuse me. But she's turning 46. I don't remember. 46 or 47, one of those. I'll figure it out. But
well, this year I'm going to Lake Havasu for my birthday. Actually, I'm going next Monday, so it won't be on my birthday, but that's when we decided to go. That would be the most cost effective.
Yeah.
And I've never been there. Well, technically I have been there, but only inside an Albertsons store because I used to do repair work for Albertsons store. But I've never actually seen like the lake or the London Bridge. So, and for those who don't know, Lake Havasu took a bridge from London and brought it over here. So,
what? That. Okay.
What?
They built a bridge and then moved it across seas.
Well, it was a very old bridge that was basically fallen down. You ever hear the song "London Bridge"?
Yeah.
That's what they're referring to. Or I don't know. I guess they are. Someone correct me. But they wanted to build another bridge. So I forget who actually did it, but he bought the bridge, brought it over, and then rebuilt it using those stones.
Okay. That's interesting. I didn't know that. That's hard for me to comprehend. I learned something today, says Brad. Oh.
I didn't know that. Run True Lord Emperor. Empire.
If you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat.
Yes, I'm happy to answer all of them. I've lived, sleep, and breathed this book. I mean, I've just been writing it non-stop. Well, not writing it, but researching it. I have actually wrote the beginning of it, which took me so long to do. But it's like the author's note that I wrote, the first thing I said is, I don't hate women. Because there's going to be so many feminist harpies like, oh, this is a misogynistic neckbeard who lives in his mom's basement. In fact, I referenced that too. It's like, joke's on you. My mom doesn't have a basement.
That's funny.
So, I mean, I call out that they're going to do this because then they lose the power to be able to do it.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, they'll probably still give me bad reviews, but it's only going to hurt them in the long run. So,
yeah, I mean,
I get nothing but 1-star reviews that actually makes me look better. In all honesty.
Yeah. So win-win.
Read the book that the feminists don't want you to see.
Yeah. Like, even if it was the highest rated or the lowest rated on Amazon, both would be at selling points.
I do hope it's the highest rating. I don't
Yeah,
want to
that would be
get
great.
1-star reviews, but I'm prepared if it happens.
Hey, then we can just make a funny video out of it.
Also, check out the trailer. I mean, I don't really have great video editing skills, but I'm proud of what I did with that. It just features facts with some red smoke in the background with really cool music.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, share the video, share the campaign, donate if you can. That would be wonderful. The point. Sorry.
Well, I was also going to say, also consider getting the ebooks if you can't afford the physical books, because I mean there is a little bit extra money put on that for shipping purposes, because shipping books out is expensive. But the ebooks doesn't have that. And one other thing that the ebooks will have that the physical books won't, I might include some pictures in the physical book, but they'll all be black and white. The ebooks will have colored pictures, because unless you're using like Paperwhite, but if you have like a Fire or some sort of Android device or Apple device, you'll be able to see the pictures in color. In fact, I'll probably put a lot more pictures in the ebook versus the actual physical book. So, if you can't afford the physical books, which is understandable, you will technically be getting something with the ebooks that the physical books won't have.
That's good. Yeah, get that ebook. The point is not to write a book to offend feminists. It's about a healthy male empowerment. I know controversy creates cash, but there's enough controversy. Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's not purposely trying to offend feminists, but if it does, that's not so it's a bad thing.
And that's a very valid point. It's not my goal to try to piss off feminists. I'm not purposely trying to piss them off, but at the same time, I do need to mention that, it's like the National Organization of Women in the 90s, I think it was like 96, 97, fought against shared parenting. They fought against dad groups. I'm going to mention that. It's not me trying to attack them, but this is what happens. Talking about all the feminists, how about the whole Father's Day fiasco? That feminists are trying to say, hey, remember your mothers on Father's Day. And it's not that I want to purposely piss off feminists, but this shit does happen. I do need to talk about it. And they're probably going to be offended as a result, but it's not my goal. This is just reality.
Yeah.
I can hear the sound of 1 million Karens ringing at once.
That's great.
But, I do start with, and even then, even in the intro, I don't say that I'm necessarily anti-feminist, but, feminism has caused a lot of problems in our society, especially when it's concerning men. I said somewhere that, we support, well, actually, it's in here that I said, and I'll read the first part of this because I think it's very poignant. The first paragraph. It says, for the last century, many of us have come forward to discuss the inequalities of males. Yet, our voice has fallen on deaf ears of men and women alike. In its place is the echo chamber of feminism, enabling the emancipation of women while simultaneously denying the rights of men and regulating them as monstrosities of civilization. We men do not wish to stand in the way of women's rights, but rather obtain the same opportunity for freedom automatically awarded to females. Unfortunately, there's a culture-wide response of denial, believing that males have everything when in fact, males are being left behind.
Yeah. I like
Now,
that.
you could read that as being anti-feminist, that I'm trying to piss them off, but it's like, I recognize that they pushed women's rights forward. I don't 100% agree with everything they did, but that's what they did. But in the process, they tried to demonize men as much as they could.
Yeah, I mean, like, not even just feminists. I mean, like, everyone knows how much I hate how women nonchalantly talk about how men are shit. And they talk about it so much to the point where men start believing it about themselves. And like, I mean, I brought it up a couple times, but this one time when I was working as a waitress and this guy just burped, you know, at a bar. He was drinking at a bar and he burped and he looked at me and was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, men are pigs, aren't we?" And I was like, I mean, that's funny because you're a dude, but I really hope you don't think that about yourself. You know, because I know that's probably a reaction to a bunch of women saying, "Ew, you're disgusting. You're a pig." Like, that's not okay.
You know, it's one thing that I'm really going to discuss in my first book is the concept of hypergamy. And for those who don't know, hypergamy is when women try to trade up in society, when they try to get more for themselves by who they marry. So like a poor girl will try to hook up with a rich guy so she herself will be rich. Now, guys do this too, but it's actually looked down upon when guys try to do this.
Oh, yeah.
But when women try to do it, it's seen as a good thing. Like, what are those called?
Sugar daddies?
Sugar babies, actually.
Yeah.
That's considered honorable, even though she's basically a prostitute. Now, if that's what a girl wants to do, fine, have at it. But I mean, but the thing is that we've actually seen this disseminate in all of society. Like, you go onto a dating app, what do you see? Well, I expect my guy to be like at least 6 foot. He has to have bulging muscles. He has to make a lot of money. It sets such impossible standards that 99% of the male population would fail. And like a girl who's a 6 trying to hook up with a guy that's a 10. But a guy who's a 10 should be lucky that he even gets a 6.
Yeah, and then he'll be told, you know, how much money he has to spend on her and how he has to provide for her or she'll leave him.
But here's the big thing, is that marriages are failing because women are starting to become the breadwinners, but they want to be with men who make more money than them. So we need to start paying women more money because that's what female emancipation looks like. That's because we're sexist that we pay women so little. And then we give them these jobs that we'd otherwise give to more qualified males, but they're not happy in their marriage because now they make more, so they leave. And studies have shown that men don't care if women make more money than them, but women care if men make less than they do.
Yeah. I mean, I've never really seen the point in having, like, here's the thing. You can have gender roles in your house, obviously, but when you make them control your emotions, that's a problem. Like, you're supposed to have a healthy relationship and you're supposed to, like there's so many red flags with that.
And my general advice is, guys, don't get married. It's not worth it. And if you really want sex, hire a prostitute. I mean, I'd be the first to tell you, I wish I could meet a woman, marry her, and live with her the rest of my life and potentially have children. I mean, I'm 40, but it's still possible for me to have children. But the way the system is stacked against us, I just saw an interesting documentary called Divorce Inc. And whoa, that just really woke me up to the whole divorce system. I mean, I knew it was bad before, but now it's so much worse. It's basically a business for the government.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's a really good documentary. I mean, there's a lot of things that I wish they discussed, but it's not really a gendered issue. It affects both men and women, but you don't realize it until you actually go through it.
Mm-hmm.
But the system is stacked against men. There is no reason any man should ever get married. And, you know, maybe
In
you
today's
can
society,
you can find the right woman, but I'm starting to think maybe there isn't such a thing anymore as the right woman. Or if there is, she's probably already taken. Believe me, I've tried to ask out Medusa, but she's always taken.
I'm sorry. I was going to suggest if you are trying to hook up with chicks, go for the girls on dating apps who say they don't fuck on the first date. Because if they say that, they do. Like, every single chick that goes out of their way to say, like, oh, well, I don't want you to try anything. Oh, yeah, we're just friends, right? Yeah, it's okay. They will slop on your knob by the end of the night.
Wear protection.
Yes.
Wear, even get like 2 condoms on if necessary. But, and this is something I'm going to discuss in this series, is a concept called splurging, which stands for stealing sperm. You know, if you have sex with a woman, like if you're at her place and you wear a condom, great for you, but take that shit with you. Do not throw it in her trash. Do not put it in her toilet, because, and it sounds like a little crazy, like, oh, you put it in her toilet, it's destroyed. She will fish that shit out and impregnate herself. Like, there was a case where a man had oral sex with a woman. Like, she sucked him off. And then when he went off into another room, she spit out the sperm and inserted it into herself. She got pregnant, and then she wanted child support. And the court ruled that even though his intention was not vaginal sex, that he did not want to get her pregnant, they ruled that he had given his sperm to her as a gift, and it was free for her to use however she wanted. He had to pay child support.
That's like literally calling a child a gift. Like, I don't know if you've heard about the drama that's been going on YouTube about a girl named Mika Stouffer who has 4 children, and she had an adoptive child from China who was autistic, had a brain tumor, and had missing brain matter. She went out of her way to make sure that she got a special needs child because it was faster and more convenient. And guess what she did less than 3 years later? Decides she doesn't want to take care of him anymore. So she rehomes him like a dog.
No, I have heard about that, and the big thing is that she had like a YouTube channel,
yeah,
and made like millions of dollars, and then decided to have her own kids, and it's like, okay, well, I don't need this child anymore.
Yeah, she had 3 children, adopted that kid, had another child, like got pregnant, had another child while she was taking care of him, and then March was the last time that she posted anything, like a picture of this little boy, the Chinese boy, and and people were like, what's happening? Where is he? Like, people still don't know where he is, which is a good thing because he well, a good and a bad thing, because we need to know that he's in a safe place, because she could have potentially done some illegal rehoming, because the adoption agency has gone out of their way to state that they have had no contact.
Well, I want to respond
It's so
to.
fucked up.
Yeah, it is fucked up. I want to respond to a couple of comments in the chat.
Mhm.
Lamorte says, but that's one case. Be careful not to make it a generalization. And that is true. It is only one case, but there are
It's a good
actually lots
example.
of cases of women stealing sperm. That this is a serious issue that needs to be discussed. I'm not going to say all women do this. No, and I'm not going to say that it's a common thing, but it happens enough that it should be a concern. That's why I say wear a condom and take that shit with you. Because if you throw it in trash, there are cases where women have dug it out of the trash and put it in them. One suggestion I've seen, which I don't recommend doing, is after
Putting
you come
hot sauce in it.
put some hot sauce in it and throw it away. So when she tries to stick that inside of her, don't do that. But that's just funny. And then I want to respond to Cassie.
Yeah.
She said that women can sign their name on a birth certificate, and that person is automatically the father. Not every state has that, but I believe California does have that. You can sign whoever's name you want on the birth certificate. And in some instances, they will mail the father a letter saying that you have been identified as a father and you have 30 days to contest this. Well, what if you don't receive the letter? It doesn't matter. You're out of luck. You're now the father of a child of a mother you never met, or maybe you have met but never had sex with her. Paternity fraud is a very serious issue, and that is something I discussed in the first book, is paternity fraud.
Yeah. You know, it reminds me of the people, and I don't know if you know about this community, but it heavily reminds me of the people who go out of their way they have a fetish for STDs, and they like to pre-poke their condoms, or like say they used a condom but then they didn't, or just straight up sexually assault people, and they brag about it on the internet, and are like, oh my god, and people go out of their way to try and catch STDs. It's absolutely insane. But that just reminds me, like, how, like, not that a child is the same as an STD, but the fact that, like, you go out of your way to deceive someone and take something from someone. Like, you're basically taking their whole life when you fucking say, like, that they owe child support, which is on a decent level as, like, destroying your life with an STD. Like, it seriously, I'm not saying that they're the same at all, but it's so confusing to me that people would go out of their way to be so selfish and weird. Like, why would you want a child with a random person? Why would you want a random person to be on the name of your, like, as the name of the father of your baby? Like, I guess they don't care what their family thinks or what anyone thinks. Like, it's so mind-boggling to me, like, the level that some women are on when it comes to deceiving people.
Well, I recently had an issue on Facebook with a woman. She's like a former feminist, but she hasn't exactly taken the red pill yet. And it's like, and a lot of people told me to, like, block her, but it's like, you know, we gotta deal with these people sooner or later. I'm like, I will talk to her and really let her know things are going on. And when I told her about this idea of stealing sperm, she's like, that doesn't happen. That rarely happens. I'm like, no, it doesn't rarely happen. It happens quite a bit. She didn't want to believe it. And the exact thing she said is, no woman would purposely make themselves a single mother. That she was in such denial about this because she had problems with her ex-husband who left her as a single mom. So she can't fathom why anyone would purposely do that. And I even showed her all of the references I had about this issue. And she's like, well, you're just, I can't forget it, like data mining it. I forget what that term is, but she was just saying that I was just picking those resources out and I wasn't really researching it, which I thought was like such an insult that she said it. And I found out later she never even looked at the evidence I gave her. She was just in such denial that this could happen. And that kind of represents most people. When we tell them this kind of stuff, cherry picking, thank you. That I was cherry picking information. And I wasn't. I mean, there was an interview where a woman said on public television that not only did she do this, she knew a lot of other women who have done this. But people are in denial that women can ever do something bad.
Well, here's another thing. Okay, when you say stealing sperm, I would say those cases are less prominent than women straight up lying and saying that they're on birth control. Because, I mean, you've seen the Wendy show clip, right? Where she's like, women, do you think this girl should trick her husband into getting her pregnant? And they're like, yeah! What's wrong with you? What the fuck is wrong with you? Why would you want to have a child with someone who's not ready? Do you want them to be a shitty dad? Do you want them to leave? Do you want to leave? Like, I want a baby, so I'm gonna have one. Then fucking adopt one by yourself and like get the fuck out. Like, don't use someone to get what you want. That's fucked up.
Karen Strawn once told a story of a guy she knew who was married to this horrible woman that forced her husband to have more children. And that if he didn't get her pregnant, like they already had 3 children, she wanted a 4th child. And she basically said, well, if you don't do it, I'm going to file for a divorce and make sure everyone, I don't remember precisely. I think she might have threatened to like say he raped the children or just leave him penniless. But she coerced him into having a child. He didn't want one because they couldn't afford another one. You already have 3 children, but she wanted another.
That's so sad. It kind of reminds me of when I was 10 years old and I found out that my dad had gone to jail. I immediately had doubt. Like, I was immediately like, okay, so this just happened. The accusations just came in now. I'm not going to assume that this is true. And after years, I'm kind of like on the fence because I'm like, I still don't know what actually happened. I still don't remember if anything happened. So it's like, but I didn't, even as a 10-year-old, I didn't automatically assume, oh yeah, my dad's an evil person. I thought the woman, the crazy woman that he was married to, lied to try and get money and shit out of him and to get his children away from him. That was my immediate thought as a 10-year-old. And most people wouldn't even cross their mind. They'd be like, oh my God, he did it. Thank God he's in jail. And it's like, you have to have reasonable doubt. If a fucking 10-year-old can have reasonable doubt, then you can manage it. Ugh.
Another issue that I actually discovered through all of this is, what was that specifically? Basically, you get a woman pregnant, but you're not married to her, so you don't have any rights of the child. Like, if a woman dies, the state may give the baby up for adoption, but you're the father of it, but you have no right to the child because you weren't married to the woman.
I didn't fucking know that.
Yeah. Now, a lot of these things are minor issues, but the thing is that when you start combining minor issues together, you start painting a major picture.
Yeah, that's true. Exactly. Well,
and that's part of the problem in our movement is we have all of these minor things. People just easily dismiss them off. Well, I'm going to put all this minor stuff into a book to really spell out this big thing.
Yeah. I think that's really important because, like, you see the small individual stories here and there, and those are really moving. But when you have it all in one area and you just see it over and over and over again, the injustice that's going on, it's like, wow, we need to fucking do something about this. And I thought of something that related to that, but I forgot. Well. Hello, Alan's Words. How you doing? Thank you, everybody, for joining. Don't forget to like the stream and share Mad Cat's Indiegogo campaign.
Yes, please. I'm looking at my database of all my files, and I'm just trying to see if there's anything more about fathers and all of that, which will be in the first book. Parenthood. Fake pregnancies. Ooh, that's a fun one. When women claim that they're pregnant when they're actually not, to try to extort money from men or try to extort men to marry them.
I know someone who did that. And they didn't get anything out of it, but they tried to. Like, I have a friend who was dating a girl for years, and the weirdest part was that she had done it before. She had gone and said, I'm pregnant, and then a couple weeks later, oh, I had a miscarriage, don't worry about it. And so he breaks up with her, starts dating another girl. Before he started dating the other girl, everything was cool. She was dating other people. Once he started dating another girl, she's pregnant. His ex. And so she's like, I'm pregnant and we have to do something about this. And she was basically trying to trick him into getting back with her, and it didn't work. And I literally said, trust me, she's going to do the same thing. A couple weeks later, oh yeah, I had a miscarriage. What the fuck was the point of that? Like, she literally just said it to try and get him back with her, and now they're with different people. What was the fucking point? You really think that a guy is gonna want to have a kid with you after he broke up with you? Come on.
There's actually a term for that. For anyone out there who are dealing with narcissistic or borderline personality disorder, check out a channel called Shrink for Men. I watched every single video. It was like 19 hours. But she describes a term called hoovering, based on a vacuum cleaner, where when you break up with a narcissist, it doesn't always happen with breaking up, but generally when you break up with a narcissist or a borderline personality, they will do everything they can to keep you in a relationship with them. They will suck you back in, and that's what that woman did. He broke up with her. She couldn't imagine being with anyone else she couldn't stand being alone. That was the main problem in that situation. So she wanted the guy back so she could still have the attention. So, hey, I'm pregnant.
Yeah. I don't even think it was just being alone. I think it was definitely triggered by the fact that he had moved on already, and she could not handle that.
Another thing that I found interesting was there was a Travelodge story where a father takes his daughter to a motel, and they call the police on him because they believe that he kidnapped her and was going to have sex with her.
I'm sorry. Wait. What? Wait, why did they do that?
Because he's a man, and clearly men are pedophiles.
Wait, so who called the cops?
The clerk at the hotel.
Dude,
he had to proof that it was his daughter. Now, thankfully, she did have identification to demonstrate what her name was, and they dropped the case from there. But, this is, it's like we can't allow children to sit next to children on an airplane. There was one story I read where a guy was sitting next to his pregnant wife, but on the other side of him was a child, and they told him he had to sit somewhere else. In front of everyone. It's like, sorry, sir, we can't allow you to sit next to this child. You have to move.
Why the fuck did they assign him the seat then, you dumbass? Jesus. What the fuck? Like, okay, I worked at a hotel or a motel once as a receptionist. So I've seen some sketchy shit. A guy came in with a chick who would not make eye contact or say anything. He went into the room, left 30 minutes later. I walked in and there was blood on the pillow. I didn't say shit. I should have, but who the fuck?
Maybe he likes to sleep in period blood. I don't know.
Like, I can't fathom, like, a guy comes in. You don't just go in and buy a fucking hotel room and don't talk about how that's your daughter. That guy knew it was his fucking daughter. Like, fuck that clerk. He must have known it was his daughter. Who goes in and isn't like, oh yeah, I'm getting a room for me and this bitch here. No, he's like, I'm getting a room for me and my daughter. Hello? Like, I cannot see that situation playing out the way that it sounds. This is ridiculous.
And there are other problems, like men taking their daughter to a playground, and then other mothers coming up to that child. It's like, is that your father?
Just start. I'll design children's T-shirts to say, "Yes, this is my dad."
So, I mean, this is the kind of stuff that I found in my research. I mean, a lot of this I already knew, but
yeah,
I learned quite a lot as well. So,
yeah, me too. And I hope that I get a copy too.
Yes, you will get a copy once you spend the money.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely go down below.
I'll give you a free copy. Oh, don't worry about that.
Thank you. Yeah, definitely support his campaign. If you can't donate, then just share it to Twitter, Facebook, whatever. All that shit. And the more the word is spread, the more my legs will spread. I mean, what?
Well, I was about to say, help me reach my goal so Medusa can get a free copy.
Yeah, exactly. That's the main goal. Oh. Yeah.
Now, one thing that I am hoping for, if I do reach higher than my goal, which one of the nice things is if I can reach my goal, then it can stay in what's called in demand, which means that it's technically closed, but you can still purchase from it. But if I get more money than my asking amount, there's like a lot of books that I want to read. I've actually made a list on Amazon of all the books that I want to read in my wish list. I have like 250 books there.
Oh, you should send me that.
So, but I'll tell you this, even if I don't reach my goal, I'm not too worried because I can technically produce this book for free. It's not a big thing, but it means that, I won't have the good quality of editing, which people will knock it for that shit. It's like, oh, this is so poorly written. And it's like, I'm fucking poor, man. And, I can go with the cover design that I've designed for it. So it's not a big deal. But I just want this to be as good as possible. So even if I don't meet my goal, if $90 is all I get, this book is still going to be made no matter what. So just help me make it the best possible thing so that when people see it and try to find something to complain about, they can't get me for stupid stuff.
Yeah, I'm still really happy that other that book got taken down. That you were parodying. That was impressive.
For those who don't know, the book How to Destroy a Man Now got taken down off of Amazon. I actually called up Amazon myself, and they said that no new copies will be sold. Now, I still have the book on my Kindle because I bought it. I didn't really want to, but I had to see what it was about so I could write a parody of it. So I can still read it, but you can't buy it anymore. Funny enough, my book is still on there. It hasn't been taken down.
I love that so much.
And I really thought it would be the other way around. I thought feminists would be so pissed off with my book just by the title of it and like the preview you could read. They'd get that taken down, and then we could be like, so what's going on here, Amazon? My book's taken down, but this other one's up.
It had an even better effect.
I don't think I'm solely responsible for that book being taken down, but I do think I had a part to play in it.
I'm sure the amount of, we talked about it a lot. We asked people to buy it, and I feel like people, once they realized what was going on, more than likely reported that book. Which I'd like to say that was a big part of it.
Well, what's funny is like near the end of that book's run is so many feminists were hopping onto the reviews like, oh, this book wasn't written by a feminist. This is just some men's activist trying to make us look bad.
Wow, that's a stretch.
And to this day, no one's quite sure if this was a Poe, if someone was just doing it to, point out how bad the Me Too movement was, or if it was for real that someone wanted to hurt men. And I take the stance that it was someone who wanted to hurt men because it actually offered really good advice on how to hurt someone, it encouraged you to commit defamation, like to go onto news sites and create fake news article about someone so the results would show up in Google. Because that was something I read about was the Duke lacrosse team. The members, even though they were exonerated, they had a tough time looking for jobs for several years because every time you search their names, it would link to that incident, to that false accusation. Employers look for you on Google to see if there's any controversy associated with your name. They won't take the risk. They won't hire you. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, the fact that it went into such details, I have to believe that this was for real. That someone really wanted to advise women on how to hurt men.
It would be interesting to actually delve into that and find out who the person was that wrote it.
That'd be wonderful if you could, but so far no one's been able to figure it out.
That's interesting.
And people have done some serious searching for it, and they just come up with a blank.
Huh. Mystery. Oh, that's funny. Was there anything that you wanted to mention about the handbook before I have to run and pee?
Well, I say this: if you don't donate, I'll take off my shirt.
Do it! Donate now! Hurry!
So, like I said, with all of this, this is a dream come true. I'm glad that I'm finally doing this. I finally have the courage to put my name on it because that was a big thing with How to Destroy a Man Now. People kind of bitch like, oh, well, they're not brave enough to use their actual name. And technically for How to Destroy a Woman Now, I only put the name Mad Cat on there. I didn't put my actual name. This I am. If I'm going to do something like this, I'm going to sign my name to it.
Yeah.
And if there's a fallout from me doing that, fine. But this book needs to be produced.
Yeah. Agreed.
But, the couple of highlights from what we've talked about, we're going to be doing the quick reference guide. So if you want to look at beautiful women, get that. also that Paul Elam will be writing the foreword for the book. So, he's going to be attached to this, and I'm very excited about that. I will release more of the books in the series if we reach certain milestones. I kind of set them high because, that kind of gets costly to do that. But, if a lot of people buy this, I want to give them the opportunity to purchase the books at a discount. But I do have like the personalized bundle where I'll make ebooks that have your name on the cover and then sign a copy of the book. There's an option where you will get a copy of every book that I make. I will send it to you. And then the collector's edition, which is kind of a combination of the two, it will have your name on it, and you will get every book that I release. I will sign every book, and I will send it to you.
That's cool.
So, it's a little expensive. It's like $250, but when you really break down the math, it is still cheaper than buying the books individually. So,
okay, that's dope.
And let's see if there's anything else I want to mention on this. Like Medusa said, the best thing you can do is, if whether you donate or not, spread the word about this. The more people know about it, the greater chance I have at succeeding at this. And I hope I do well enough that I can go to Virginia to do a book signing, because Paul lives in Virginia. There's one of the models that did the calendar lives in Virginia. And I believe Medusa could easily get there too. So we could have kind of like a mini convention surrounding my book. And I want to do a book signing. I would love to go to like everywhere in the world to do a book signing. Mostly because I'm a writer and I'm egotistical and I love the attention. But I do want to spread this around because I think it's a super important book.
Me too. You guys should spread it too.
Spread it like butter.
Spread it like herpes or glitter.
No. Oh, like the coronavirus. Wait, no, I can't say that word. Oh, I think they stopped that, but oh my god, that pissed me off when my stream got taken down. But yeah. Thank you everybody for coming to watch. We really appreciate the people who have contributed so far.
Yes, thank you for that. I was a little like, it's the first day. People are not really working right now. So, and, Friday is usually when people get paid. So, but thank you so much for donating. The two people that have, it was really made my night. I was like,
yeah.
I was trying to be positive about it, but it was getting me down a little bit. I'm super happy that I got something for today.
Oh, yeah. Once people know that what's going on, they'll want to support.
Yeah.
But yeah, spread it like the thighs you want to be suffocated by, as Americans mean it. But was there any final statements you want to make about this stuff?
Yes, if I make enough money, I can finally hire a hooker. I haven't had sex in like 3 years, people.
Hey, get all those books from Amazon, and then she'll really be impressed. No, I'm kidding.
No, that's it. I thank everyone for coming out to this stream today. This is great. I'm just super excited about this. I'm super passionate about it. I'm still doing research. I'm, by the time all is said and done, I'll probably have like over 10,000 resources for all of these books, and the other ones I'll write. And of course, check out wikiformen.com because I will also be uploading stuff to that. So,
yeah. I enjoy that site. And you've written a couple articles for Voice for Men too, right?
Yes, actually, I have written a couple articles. Paul was gracious enough to publish some for me. I just emailed him directly. And I expected him to be like, just go through this form here, because he was like redoing the website, and that hadn't been quite set up. And he's just like, well, just send it to me and I'll put it up for you. So
That's awesome.
I know Paul can be a polarizing person, but it's like I don't agree with everything he says, but he's a pretty cool guy. So
He's a passionate dude. I like him. He was in the Red Pill, right?
yes, he was.
Yeah.
I love that movie. If you haven't seen the Red Pill, you should watch it.
Which I told Cassie J on Twitter that her film was an inspiration for this book, which it was. I mean, she had shown that this was needed, So
And
there's a lot
doable.
of different influence I have, but that one did play a part in me writing this book.
Yeah. I'm glad. Yeah, she's inspired me a lot to just be more vocal about this shit than I already was. So, yeah. Maybe one day we can get her in a calendar.
That would be a wonderful treat, but I don't think she would want to.
I wish.
She's very.
Up her. Be like, hey, can I use this? Oh. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. I have to pee and I'm very hungry. Even though I had dinner, or I had like an early dinner, but I made some barbecue mini wieners and I worked them in my mouth.
Did you like?
Oh yeah, I take a little toothpick and I stab it. Like,
Well, I'm having tacos tonight, so.
Oh, nice. Oh,
I make my tacos, so.
Oh, you don't have to tell me how they turn out.
Very good. I do it like once every 2 weeks, so.
Oh, really? That's awesome. I like making tacos.
I like to make your taco.
But it's already made.
Oh, all right. Go support the Indiegogo. Share it. Like the stream. Share this stream. All that good stuff. Comment below if you want us to do more streams together. And we will see you next time.
Good night, everybody.